Welcome everyone. This is the Marshfield Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. This is a hybrid meeting, so if you're calling in, please use *6 to mute yourself and to unmute yourself. So, no one's on Zoom tonight, right?
JJ should be on Zoom.
Oh, JJ, he is?
He's supposed to be, right?
Oh, you're right. JJ, you out there?
He's not on yet, Brian.
All right.
Your mic's like cutting that in and out too.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks. No biggie. All right, he's signing on, Andrew.
Oh, did you do JJ?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Whoops, you made it.
Gene, you're up first if you want to.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable
Don't
yet.
stop her. Want to use the elevators?
No, I used them tonight. Camping away.
Good to see you too. All right. Thank you. And my note taker, James.
What? Site plan is 3 votes, right?
What was that? Yeah, we only need 3, so.
I was just checking.
Rose here.
You seen a plan of what the schools are proposing to do?
Andrew put it up there.
That'd be nice.
You there, Andrew? Andrew?
JJ is not here yet.
Okay, well, we only need 3. This is just site plan approval, right?
Correct.
All right. Do you mind starting with only 4 members?
Sure.
All right, you can put the stuff up there, Andrew. So, case 22-100. Oh, wait. Well, we'll do the roll call after. Town of Marshfield, Amesway School. The petitioner is seeking a site plan approval in accordance with 305-1202 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to construct a 16-foot by 24-foot wood vinyl gazebo in the front lawn beyond the flagpole on the property located at 164 Ames Way, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being parcel F150207 and is located in R1 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
I am Jean Milch, the assistant principal at Amesway School. 165 Amesway School, Hailing, but 164 on the plot.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
So, thank you for having me here. I'm here to represent Amesway and an opportunity to put a gazebo in the front grass area. If you notice the Amesway access road, there is a current flagpole, that's the square from the flagpole to the actual Ames Way, is 65 feet. That huge grass area will enable ample space for a multi-purpose structure in the front of the school. It will offer a different look to the school than what we have in the back. The back, we have an outdoor classroom. It's more rustic, but this is it will allow this to maximize the full grass area, outdoor classroom, and it will include outdoor classroom, possible multimedia conferencing for EWS. It offers formal setting to recognize memories, such as the moving on ceremonies for our students. We had them recently outdoor in that area. In inclement, we were hoping for the better weather. Sometimes we had to bring it inside, so certainly that would offer us that. We could also have shelter for outdoor movie events, even classrooms could, have the Polar Express out there if kids dress appropriately. So we are using a local vendor to use, and it's Casual King out of Hanover, but the actual product comes from Pennsylvania, and they are the certified vendor for here. And we've also looked at the footing that's needed, and one of our families is offering to do the construction work for that. It's only going to be literally a foot around that perimeter. It will be crushed stone with timber.
All right. So JJ, are you there?
Hello, I'm here.
All right. And you've been there since the beginning anyways?
Yes,
You
I was
heard
there
everything?
for the opening,
Okay.
rest of the whole presentation.
All right, so we're just going to do a quick roll call. You can start, JJ.
Grove Hensley, here.
Larry Keane here.
Ryan Sullivan?
Ryan Murphy.
Heidi Conway.
All right, so, do we have any questions from the board?
How many children do you think will fit under this cover? Get a whole classroom out there?
Easily.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Any lighting or anything?
I would like to add lighting in the end, and it would come from one of the lampposts that are in the driveway access.
I think it's an unfortunate aspect of the bylaw that you actually need to be here. But having said that, obviously, it's a slam dunk.
Anything from the audience? Nothing from the board?
Andrew, this is one of those discretionary calls I would prefer that you make.
We all agree. So nothing else? I make a motion that we close 22-100, Town of Marshfield, Ames Way, 164 Ames Way. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Ryan Sullivan, aye?
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Grove Hensley, aye.
And I'll make a motion that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for site plan approval, subject to, Andrew, can you put up the stuff that we're agreeing with on site plan approval? Thank you. Does everyone agree with the site plan approval?
I believe it meets all the requirements of 305-12.02.
All right. So, let's see what Andrew had for conditions. Yeah, so this will require a final as-built and a
Are
final,
they planning any lighting on it?
they are.
Down the road, right, but not right now.
Correct, not part of
Not
this
right now,
project, it
down
can
the
easily
road.
be added down the road. Should I propose that now, or I don't have any of the information for that, so.
Why, Andrew?
Okay,
That's part of site plan approval.
Yeah, it's on the,
So she said she's gonna do it. What's that? So as long as we say it complies with the bylaw. All right. So this will require a final as-built, a final inspection with the building department, and the lighting, as long as it complies with our bylaw, is acceptable. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Ryan Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Carl Renzi,
Thank you. All right, you're all set.
Thank you. Amesway, thanks you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, so now Heidi's gonna take over.
Gene, how are you?
But we're gonna do this one and then H after that, okay, Andrew?
Hi, my name's Heidi Conway, a hearing officer for 22-101 Marshfield Lodge of Elks, 2494. The petitioner is seeking a site plan approval in accordance with 305-1202 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to install an enclosed vertical wheelchair lift with a 36-foot by 54-inch platform, a tower height of 255 inches, and a travel height of 148 inches to travel from the first floor to the second floor on the property located at 1321 Ocean Street, which is further identified on the assessors map as being on parcel J09-03-05 and is located in R2 zoning district. Okay, just identify yourself for the record, Jeff. Do
Kevin Cantwell, 20 George Street.
you want to explain it?
With me tonight, with me tonight is John White.
Hi, John.
I'm at 20 Old Farm Road, Marshfield. I am the treasurer and the license holder for the Elks.
And I'm the board of director chairman, so that's why the two of us are here tonight.
Okay. Do you want to
Okay.
explain the project to us?
Well, we're here tonight to add an enclosed wheelchair platform lift for our handicapped accessibility for our members and guests. And the facility, the second floor, will be from the first to the second floor. Believe we can do this by right, but we're here for site plan approval. And I'll be here to answer your questions. I know some of you maybe not be familiar with the Elks, maybe some of you are.
So, the site plan that we got from Steinbeck and Taylor, because the
Yeah.
one that you had wasn't really a site plan for your property. So this one here,
Yeah, this is the old one. We couldn't find this one. This one's an old one, but.
so do you have any updated one? Because
No,
this
this-
doesn't show the 2019 thing, it doesn't, the deck, it doesn't show. So just tell us where it's going, because right now we don't even know where anything's going.
Yeah, that's the plot plan that's the last plot plan we have from the mortgage.
So can you tell us where this is going?
Yeah, but it'll be in the back of the building, at the Elks. If you're familiar, the back of the building, it'll be from the first floor to the second floor. We have the parking lot out behind the building. It will not be seen from Ocean Street. It's in the rear of the building. So on here,
There are some references.
yeah, I'm trying to see the.
Of just the tower, but not
Yeah,
where it's
addition.
going?
See, on the
Oh, it
back, the
is?
addition, that's
Andrew,
a
I couldn't see
deck.
it.
So it'll be like right off to the deck, off the deck.
So it's gonna lift onto the deck.
Yeah, onto the deck.
Bob, if this is to comply with the ADA, why are
Right.
they in front of us?
It's a site plan approval issue when you change the external size of a structure. It's unfortunate
Yeah.
that site plan approval, it's not discretionary with the building commissioner. It should be.
Andrew, this is another call that you should be making.
Excuse me?
This is
I can't
another,
hear what's being said in the chamber.
Andrew, I was just thinking that when the zoning bylaw is redrafted in Marshfield, I think this should be a discretionary call.
All right.
So just adding another brick to your
I'm right now,
load.
so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
So Andrew, do you want to comment on this for us?
I mean, it's tough for me because it doesn't show on any of these plans where on the lot this thing is gonna go. So is it you know, and none of the building plans that we have show actually, you know, where it's gonna be.
All right, Andrew, I actually on the progress set, all right, A2, it's rear elevation. You have those, right?
You can put it up there now.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
So
Kevin,
it'll
can you
be
just
up-
point out where it's gonna be, go right up to the
You can go up
screen?
there.
Yeah. All right, he's got those right there. So it'll be right.
Can you stand next to it and point?
Go show us.
You're right here. Right here.
Thank you.
Yep.
It's freestanding, bolted to a cement pad.
I mean, we have the specification in there from the.
Is there a
And you'll be
rendering?
cutting in a new opening into the second floor, is that,
No.
No.
I can't see where it's going, again, like.
Oh, there's a- all right, so the-
somebody explain to me, they're going onto the deck on the left.
It's
side?
going onto the deck, and then there's another drawing where there's a door on the deck. It is. See the existing, see the door? I'll show you right here. This is the door right here. Door come right near it.
So where is it going, Kevin, exactly?
They come down the deck, they go into the building right there.
So it's gonna
Far
come up
left
on the
end of the
deck?
File
deck.
that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's going up on that last window there, is that a window?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna go there, and then they go down the deck to the
Right.
door? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it within inside the area of the deck, or is it outside the area of the deck?
Outside.
Outside.
Did the architectural access, have you been there yet? Because only because I remember this coming up with Marshfield Country Club.
Yeah.
Marshfield Country Club had an exterior lift,
Yep.
and it wasn't an elevator, and they made them close it. And then when they rebuilt the clubhouse, they had to actually put it in an elevator. And they needed a variance in order to have it outside, so you just be careful.
But, I mean, our lift is, it's very similar to the one at the high school. You know, you're familiar with the one at the high school? It's the exact same lift, just updated.
Even the town hall's lift
Okay.
that was inside
Yep,
wasn't like compliant, and that's why we now have an elevator in.
okay.
Um, It's not a town issue, it's
Yeah.
a state issue. Just those outside lifts give the architectural access to what like, and, you know, so maybe an issue with Andrew when you go to get your building permit, you know.
I mean, I can double check with United Elevator, who's a lot, a lot
Oh,
more.
they're experts.
Yeah, they're experts. I mean, and they've been out, and I believe they told me, and maybe, I don't want to speak for them, but I'm pretty sure they said that we wouldn't have an issue with that.
So Andrew, what is your thoughts on that? Do you understand where it's going and how they're getting in? Were you able to
I
see?
do not. I can't see the screen, so when he goes up and points at the screen without giving the description to the at-home audience, I can't, I don't know.
So that
So
window,
is it,
where the pointer is, that last window at the beginning of the, right
Yeah,
there,
right
yep?
there.
It's
Yeah.
gonna go to the front of the deck there,
Across,
right
right there.
across from there,
Yeah,
right?
right there,
And then they're gonna go up, open up into the deck and go down into the door to enter the Elks?
to the right,
To the right,
yes.
right.
so that all needs to get, you know, that should have been shown on, or should at least been overlaying on one of the site plans.
Yep.
You know, so you could see the size of this, whatever thing is getting added on to here. When it comes to the building permit, the elevator plans only are for this actual thing, but they, right on it say, you know, all of the structural support, all of this other stuff has to be verified independently and supplied for the building permit. So, again, we don't have a building permit, so this is the first time I've seen the elevator plans. Nothing has really changed since my initial discussion with them about this, so it's hard for me to say, you know, one way or another, you know, if everything's adequate until I get a building permit application.
So, do you have plans? I mean, because normally people come and they have all that
I
stuff
can get another,
done.
I get another plan from the, I got a plan showing it.
Okay,
Right.
so, I mean, my personal opinion is that we continue it till we actually see that, because we really shouldn't be approving something that we don't see on the site plan.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just,
I was hoping to have it before, okay.
you know what I mean? It's like, not to be difficult, but you really have to see what we're approving. We can't just blindly approve something normally. That's my personal opinion on it.
Now you can pretty much overlay right over what you got here, just
Yeah.
put it in there.
That's,
I mean, pretty easy for
Kevin,
Steinbeck
you
and
really
Town.
only needed to show where the footprint is,
all right.
outside the deck.
All right, that's fine. I mean,
Go talk to Andrew.
yeah, I hope to have one. I hope to have another drawing, but I'll get it to you. I'll get it to you folks. So when's the next hearing?
2 weeks.
No, not till November 22nd.
Not till the 22nd of November. Having said all of that, in order to get the building permit, you've got to show all this information that we're asking for. Andrew's got to sign off on the structural integrity of what they're proposing. It's on the back of the building. It's not triggering any setback issues.
The building is non-conforming because it violates the side setback, so I think that's the issue, Brian.
Yes, but we know the dimensions of the lift they're putting in.
Right.
So it's not an addition, it's not an addition like a living area.
Right.
It is a contained, and we have a photo of it, it's a contained unit. Anywhere in the back of the building is fine with me. It's to meet ADA requirements. I don't care where it's gonna show on their plan, and I think it's rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic, pushing them off until November 22nd. It's not gonna matter. I am more than comfortable approving it now, because Andrew's gonna sign off on everything.
You could require them to show Andrew on a final plan if it's just that footprint. It's completely up to you.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
I
my
understand what you're
opinion.
saying, but my issue is that if that's what the zoning board is supposed to be doing, we're supposed to see what we're approving, then we should look at and see what we're approving. And right now, we don't have that in front of us, and it's not really Andrew's responsibility to do our job.
I agree, it's not Andrew's responsibility to do our job. However, the job of the board is to consider impacts to the change of a non-conforming structure. The impact is gonna be de minimis, it's gonna be 4x4 or 5x5. Anywhere on the back of the building is academic to me. It's not triggering anything, and nothing's going to change. If they have a plan, if they don't have a plan, if it's stamped by an engineer, wherever it is, I don't think we're abrogating our job to Andrew to consider the change to the non-conforming structure.
So my issue is that it's an incomplete application.
Yes,
And I understand what you're saying.
I don't disagree
But
that
I
it's an
think that we
incomplete
should hold
application.
ourselves to a standard and make sure we have
That's
what we're
fair.
supposed to have, that's all.
That's
I do
fair.
agree with what Brian's saying, though. It doesn't matter if it's a 4-foot structure and it's going here, if it's moved down 8 feet, it's not gonna make a difference either way.
Right, but that's not the issue.
Yeah.
Is that we don't have a complete application, we don't have a site plan, it doesn't show anything about this elevator other than a blanket picture of an elevator or lift or whatever it's called. That's not attached to the back of that building. That's just a blanket one. So that's my concern, is that we do that for one person, we have to do that for somebody else. I just don't think it's a good practice, that's all.
Do you have a problem kicking it till the
No, I
21st?
just-
Absolutely right. You're
It's really
absolutely right.
not that
If
far of a
do
distance.
what we gotta do.
Sorry.
All right. All right, well,
Move to
so we'll get the
continue.
plan.
Continue
Once we have
to-
that plan, we're good.
Move to
I
continue to
don't
the
have a problem with
22nd?
this at all.
So-
It went-
So basically, you just need a drawing showing where it is to the deck. And that,
Plan
yeah, that's fine, we'll get that one.
from your surveyor.
Yeah, I mean, all right.
Steinbeck
much.
and Teller should be
All
able
right,
to do
that's fine.
that.
Pretty much drawn in what you have there, Kevin.
JJ,
You're showing
any thoughts
exactly
on
where it's
it?
gonna go.
We didn't ask JJ. Does he hear us?
Yep. I'm all set, thank you.
So we're gonna move to continue to the 22nd of November?
Okay,
Is that okay, Nance? Yep,
all right, thank you. Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
It's an approvable project, you just gotta show it on the plan.
Yeah.
All right.
See you in November.
We'll see.
Oh, anybody second?
Larry
Second,
Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Ryan Sullivan, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye. JJ?
Lorenzo,
Thank you.
Ah, thanks.
Okay. Ames was the other one, 21 Olympia. I have this. So we're gonna do Olympia Road now. So 2207 Joseph Pizzaferi, I don't even know how to say your name. 21 Olympia Road.
This is Scott from Our Creative Consulting, here on behalf of the applicant. I believe also with us tonight is the builder, Kevin Sealand. We are submitting a special permit here for the extension or alteration.
Hold on one
of
second,
pre-existing-
excuse me, Scott, I just want to read it into the record.
Okay.
Sorry. 22-107, Joseph Pizzaferi, is that how you say it?
That's right.
The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-10.12 and 305-902C of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing main structure and construct a new 1733 square foot dwelling on the property located at 21 Olympia Road, which is further identified in the assessors map as being on parcel L10-06-13A and is located in R3 zoning district. You want to identify yourself for the record?
Kevin Sealand here for Joseph Pizzaferi. My address is 140 Grandview Ave, Marshfield. So Scott will present, and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you. Okay, Scott, thank you.
Do you have a plan that you can put up on the screen, or is it okay if I share my screen here?
Andrew?
Yep, perfect. All right, for the record, Scott Panaro with Grady Consulting. We've submitted a special permit here for the extension and alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming structure. We're proposing to raise and rebuild the existing single-family dwelling. The lot was created in 1923 for a record plan. That structure was constructed also in 1923 for the town assessor's record. The lot is conforming in size and frontage. The pre-existing non-conformity comes into play for the front yard setback. Right now, the current minimum requirement is 15 feet. The existing setback is 7.8 feet. So again, we're proposing to raise that main dwelling there. And the new dwelling that will be going up, we're proposing it a little bit further back. We're proposing it at 10 feet. The proposed use will remain the same. The footprint will be increasing slightly, as you see there. We have also submitted an application to the Conservation Commission, so that hearing is upcoming. The property is served by municipal sewer, so there's no septic system to look at here. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Should I go to Andrew first, you think? Andrew, do you want to chime in on this one?
Basically, what I said in the comments, it's in an AO3 special flood hazard area. It's non-conforming house, just like Scott said. Right now, so the project does require a floodplain permit, and no application has been filed yet for the floodplain permit. So I would encourage Scott to do that. You can call me tomorrow or email me and figure out how to do that if he doesn't know. And like I said, so far the plans that I've seen meet all the building code and CRS requirements for construction in the flood zone. Like I said, it's going to require a floodplain permit, a separate demolition permit for the structure, a separate building permit, submission of a final as-built, elevation certificates at all three phases, construction drawings, at the construction of the first floor, and then a final, a certificate of occupancy and a non-conversion agreement. And that'll do it for construction in a flood zone.
And your firstborn.
Yeah.
So the garage / additional dwelling on the
Right.
property,
Yes.
can you explain what's happening there?
Well, that is a garage. Been on the property since the current owner, and it has 3 bedrooms in the back. We plan on not changing that at all.
Okay. Bob, do you want to?
Kevin, are you aware on this property that there was some prior litigation with the town?
No. Didn't know that.
Back in 1998, there was an enforcement action brought by the building inspector. It looks like it concerned that garage structure.
Okay,
And there was a direction, there was an agreement for judgment filed in the case in which it looks like the property owner was ordered and agreed to remove a kitchen, cabinet, refrigerator, dishwasher, sink, stove, a beverage cabinet, leaving no more than a utility sink. And then the premises was not to be rented or leased to any other persons. I have no idea, this just came up, so.
yeah, well,
Do you know what, other than the bedrooms above there?
yeah, the kitchen's been removed.
Okay,
It was removed before. The present owner's owned it since 2002, so that was 98.
so this would have been 4 years before.
Yeah,
they-
so the kitchen's been removed. I don't even think there's a utility sink. There is a bathroom. It is connected to the sewer. It shares the electric service with the main house. We plan on separating that.
Right,
But the kitchen's been definitely removed, so I think he's in compliance.
all right, I think he's in compliance.
Andrew might have a record on that. What we can do is, we can do a pre-inspection, just to certify that.
I think that probably makes sense.
I didn't see anything in the jacket as far as it being, like, okay to have any of that in there when I went to look at the building jacket today. So we just want to clarify that. Andrew, did you have any information on that particular situation?
I didn't see anything necessary that followed up in any of the information we have here. I don't think anything was found in the archives. But Bob Wiley, I mean, if they went to court over it, I would imagine Bob would follow through on that at the time.
Okay. And what about the trailer that's on there too? Was that staying? What's happening with the trailer?
We're flexible with the trailer. The owners were talking, I talked about it today with them briefly, and they said they'd be willing to remove that.
That would be wonderful. Okay, so.
Can I
Yes,
just ask a clarifying question?
yes.
When you said it shares electricity with the main structure, did you say they're gonna have separate electricity?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, does that trigger anything for us when they're doing that, any of that kind of stuff? And that has that one's called 21R, isn't it? In the building department, that's what it's, in the jacket?
It might be for
Just for,
building purposes, not a
not
separate
for us?
property, though.
Okay, because it said, there was a letter in there that said they were going to separate the properties from the other owner, so I didn't know if that was
They don't
part of.
intend to do
Beast
that.
of a different nature.
Yeah,
Right,
there-
okay,
there's-
they didn't
there's
do
no
anything,
intention at
okay.
this
I
time
just
to
want
do
to
that.
put it on the record that we clarified that. Okay. So back to the property. So, anybody have any questions on? Do you have anything else to present, Mr. Seelan?
Well, I don't know if Andrew mentioned it, I didn't quite hear it, but we are intending to bring it right up to floodplain standards, so that means there's a cellar under it now, it'll get filled, we'll do the tide gates, and the slab will be pitched to drain. I went over that briefly with Andrew back a couple of months ago, so
And
we'll
you'll
bring
need
that all up into
conserva-
conformance.
You'll need conservation approval for
Yep,
all
we'll
that
need
work?
conservation approval, sure, we're within the 50-foot buffer.
So we got a letter today from Bill Grafton comment. Did everybody get that? Do you want to take a peek at it?
Yeah,
Did
I
you
haven't
see it?
gotten that yet. And I'm gonna need a copy of that court case, too.
There you go. Nancy, do you want to email that over to Mr. Seelan, the court case too?
I'll go back.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Scott, have you seen this? You probably haven't.
Yes, I have seen this. So there's been some discussion on both this site and another property, I think one street over, where there's some, I guess, disagreement in the delineation of the coastal dune. So there's a meeting next Friday with Coastal Zone Management, DEP, to discuss the delineation of the coastal dune. So our hearing with the Conservation Commission will be continued until the results of this hearing.
Until the results of the hearing.
Of
To
our
determine,
hearing.
not your hearing.
This.
I'm sorry, not the results of this meeting next Friday.
I think DEP is invited. I did hear about this. But I mean,
So
go ahead.
it's not really a project specific. I mean, it does affect this project, but it's more so a town-wide, and in fact, it could potentially be a statewide determination here.
Yeah, the
Right.
purpose of this meeting is intended to clarify for residents and town
Right.
officials what are people's obligations when they're looking to do work on properties that are located on a coastal dune that's a barrier beach.
Right. So it's not out of our thing, but we just need to, it came in from Concom, so we needed to,
Interact with the
yeah.
floodplain
Right,
regulations and the
right.
conservation regulations, and this came out of a meeting that recently occurred at Town Hall, so this will be helpful to everyone.
So that's November 4th, right? Is that what that says on there, 11/4, that meeting?
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
the fourth, right?
Okay. And then we have one other letter from an abutter. Do I read it in, or it's just,
You can summarize it or read it, whatever your preference.
um,
Just identify the name of the person that wrote it.
so this is from Tom Curtin, 18 Olympia Road. I'm writing this regarding the filing for the special permit for the demolition of existing structure on the 21 Olympia Road. One question that we have regarding the use of our R3 zone district, can R3 property be the location for any type of rehabilitation home or business? I'm not sure how that's relevant, but we can get to that. Also, would kindly ask to consider, as part of the special permit, the removal of the 30-foot camper, which we've addressed, that has been sitting, okay, we don't need to get into it, and that inquired that the owner shortly after placement of the camper, the length that was, so basically, it was there someplace else, it's been there for 5 years, they just would like it removed. The neighbors would,
Agreed.
agreed. So,
So,
anybody-
this is Tom Curtin, if I can chime in quickly, versus someone saying they're willing to remove it, can it be a stipulation of the permit that it has to be removed?
well, we will discuss that, we put it in here, when we have deliberations, we will discuss that, and we will take everything into consideration, but we have it on the record, and Mr. Seelan also discussed it, so we will take all of that into consideration.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. So, anybody from the board have anything?
No, I think I'm good.
I have nothing.
Anybody from the public?
I mean, I
So-
would ask just that we be allowed to keep the camper there until, say, certificate of occupancy, so we can use it,
Use it as,
temporary use during the summer next year by the family. That's what they use it
They'd
for.
have to get approval from the select board in order to do that.
if they're gonna be living in it,
All right,
right?
okay.
Because right now, it's just storage. Is it
Right,
storage?
right.
Okay. So how do we handle that with our stuff? Do we just,
The camper should be removed unless and until there's permission from the select board to leave it as a temporary residence.
Yeah, and also one other thing is, it is located per the site plan in the wetlands.
That's a conservation issue.
so that's something that will come up in conservation? Is that Mr. Curtin again?
Yes.
Okay, so that's something that will come up in Concom?
All right, very good.
Thank you. All right, so where are we at now? Yep, 1 second. Just want to get my stuff together here. So, want to vote to close 22-107, 21 Olympia Road. I have a second.
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Heidi Conway, aye.
Bill Ramsey, aye.
Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss about this, or?
No, I'm fine with this.
You good? All right. One second.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, we just have to, well, you can leave, but,
Deliberate on this schedule,
so. So the special permit, so, on the special permit, does everybody agree that it meets the criteria for a special permit?
Meets the 10 requirements under section 10.2, 10.12.
10.12. And what's the 305, there's 923, there's no just. I'm trying to find your notes here, Bob.
It's on page 22 and 23.
Okay.
the motions are there on 23 and 24.
Okay, special permit. Okay, so I have 22. Consider it student household safeguards neighborhood. So is there anything that we need to add with as far as like construction and what happens is like buffers or any of that kind of stuff? Or does that just goes through Andrew?
The trail will be removed unless and until approved by the select board. You know, if the applicant has to comply or obtain all other local, state, federal permits or approvals.
Okay.
And you probably want an as-built plan where they're altering a non-conforming structure prior to occupancy. Those would be the proposed conditions.
All right. Okay, so we did number 10. Okay, so I want to move that the board grant the petitioner's request for a special permit subject to conditions to alter and extend a non-conforming residential structure based on the findings the applicant has demonstrated that they meet all the requirements in section 10-12 of the bylaw, with the condition that the trailer be removed unless
Unless and until
approved by the select board. And that an as-built plan, what?
There's some other conditions.
Such a, oh, Andrews, okay.
Heidi, you read yours and then have one.
Oh, and then we'll add them. Okay. So do we have anything else besides the trailer?
As-built.
The as-built?
And compliance with all the
Compliance.
local, state, federal permits and approvals.
Compliance with local, state, and federal approvals, and then,
Nancy, do you want to read the ones in
Then
favor?
it's a floodplain permit, a separate demolition permit, a separate building permit, and an elevation certificate. The non-conversion agreement, I think you had a certificate of occupancy.
an
I
occupancy
think that
certificate.
kind of falls within the all
All
other
the
local
bit-
permits and
all-
approvals.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, don't we need to list
You
them,
don't
you
need
just,
to delineate
because it falls
all.
into that,
The
okay,
approved definitely will be
on top of it,
requiring them to obtain all of these.
okay. And then, anything else about, anything? Okay.
Nope.
All those in favor? Any second?
Larry Keane, second.
You know, you
All those in
speak once-
favor?
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
How do you call me, aye? Grover?
Lorenzi.
You're all set now.
No pain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah. Where's Bri? Did you take a ride to Hummerock?
Confuse me sometimes.
Nice job.
Some help from your friends, huh?
Jack is back in.
Lucky you.
All right, we have 22-102, James and Alyssa Cavello. Petitioner are seeking a variance in accordance with 305-1011 from relief from 305-610, table of dimensional and density regulations, and a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to construct an 8-foot by 10-foot addition on an existing three-season porch at the rear of the dwelling on the property located at 34 Park Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel M0512-10 and is located in the R3 zoning district. Name and address for the record.
James Cavello, 34 Park Street, Green Harbor.
Go ahead.
My proposal is for an 8 by 10 addition to my three-season porch. It has a 30-foot setback there, and the finish off of the addition to the porch would be 22.1 feet. 22.1 feet. It would look exactly as the existing porch, three-season porch. I'm not changing anything aesthetically to the addition. And actually, the main purpose of the addition is for eating space for the family. It's a small kitchen with a large table, and when you want to seat people, you seat them, and they don't get out until the meal's over. And this little section here on the three-season porch, right, is bumped out a little bit as it is, but in order to use that as a secondary eating area or an eating area where the whole family could be at least in proximity of the kitchen, we have a table in there, but we run into the same problem. People sit at the table, we push them against the wall, and you get out when the meal's over. So we could expand the table a little bit there and have the whole family eating in at least close proximity to the kitchen. We're not going to, there's no utility here. It's just going to be attached to the end of the existing structure. So you can see that table right there. The chairs are jammed up against the wall, and once you pull them out and put somebody in there, it's not a lot of access. So that's basically what it is, just to expand the eating area a little bit. Not going to change doesn't have anything to do with any of the utilities. And it will look exactly as you see it right now. It will look just like that when we're finished. Siding will be the same, windows the same, roof same, everything the same. Not going to change the look at all. So I'm looking for relief on that back setback.
Right.
And so,
Go ahead, Heidi.
I'm just reading this over. So where is it, can you just show, so it's staying exactly where it is right now?
Yes. The darkened section would be the addition.
There's a new encroachment that's being created.
That's
Right.
new, brand new.
Right,
Right.
okay.
That's,
The solid.
the
black
solid is the new.
Is the
Yes.
new stuff, okay.
The
Right.
building currently complies with the rear setback requirement, it won't.
It won't.
be an issue.
Okay. Yikes.
With that existing deck, Bob, this doesn't fall in line with that other,
The deck,
yeah.
the deck is fine because it's under 4 feet in height.
Oh, no, I mean, this doesn't, remember that other one we did where, because of the deck's, distance off the house, we were able to give those people, I don't know, some new law or whatever you,
The deck isn't the issue at all.
but I mean, the
The deck
distance.
doesn't violate the rear setback.
Right, but there was something you came up with, it was on, Dwight Road. I can't remember the case. Andrew, you know what I'm talking about?
What was that now, Brian?
What was the case where,
I can't hear, I'm having a really difficult time hearing you guys in the chamber, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the case that we had up on Dwight Road. Bob doesn't remember the name. I don't either, but you mentioned it in the last couple of meetings. The zoning case, where we used that deck to give the people the relief they were looking from the back lot line. You don't remember?
I think that was.
Dwight Road.
That was that was a different interpretation of the rear lot line, that's all it was, I don't think that was a deck issue.
Well, no,
We
yeah,
ended up figuring out-
right.
It was initially gonna be a variance because I was reading the site plan wrong for the rear lot line. And what we determined was actually the rear lot line there was an existing nonconformity the way they did it, so they ended up only having to do a special permit and not a variance.
All right. Do you remember what that law case was that Bob used on that, or no?
Are you talking
On
about
the
the
special-
Peralta case?
Yeah.
The Peralta
This doesn't
case, that's
apply.
not this.
All right.
Peralta, you'd have to have an intrusion into the rear lot line setback, or the rear yard setback, in order to make it a special permit case.
Right, so what is the deck? It's okay
The
because...
deck is because it's not over 4 feet in height.
All right, so he doesn't get the
It's
intrusion.
not an enclosed structure that,
So he's allowed that to the 15-foot because he gives half the
He's
distance.
actually allowed,
Yeah,
he's allowed that to the 7.5 if it's less than 4 feet.
okay.
Mr. Covello, the standard for the granting of a variance is extraordinarily high. You need to demonstrate to the board that there's something unique about the soil condition, the shape, or the topography affecting your lot, but not other lots in the district. Additionally, you'd have to show that literal enforcement of the provision of the ordinance, of the bylaw, would create a substantial hardship, financial or otherwise. Like your lot wouldn't be buildable, which is not true because there's a house there. And it has to be, the hardship has to be to the lot, not to you. It can't be that you want more people around your kitchen table. That is not a substantial hardship under the law. I understand your plight. I feel bad, but unfortunately, your application comes nowhere close to meeting the standard for the granting of a variance under 40A, Section 10.
I have no other section of the house that I could put it in. I don't know if that's a hardship, but everywhere else I would be running into underground utilities and the like.
I understand that. That doesn't get you over the threshold in my interpretation of the bylaw. I'm only one vote.
I understand.
Did you try any things where you could put it where the deck is, or nothing works?
If I put it where the deck is, that's like the backside. It's substantial hardship there for sure. I'd have to literally redo the kitchen. That's where all the kitchen sink is, and then there's a shower there that's, it doesn't even show on there, but it's off the deck too. So I'd literally be eliminating half of what's in back of the house right now.
So have you sat down with Andrew and had a conversation
Yes.
about possibilities?
Not possibilities, just this,
Just this?
yes.
Brian, would he be able to enclose his deck?
He could square off his house,
Right.
and then he could add a deck off the back and go all the way to 7.5 feet, but perhaps
I don't
that's a
know where-
major renovation that they wanted to avoid, I don't know.
Right, I don't know where the
You see what he's talking about there?
30-foot
Taking the
line
deck
is.
out and squaring it off that way,
Yeah.
and putting the deck behind it. Yeah, substantially more.
It's just,
Yeah.
you know,
I went down there. This does fit right into the neighborhood. There is,
What?
there's a lot of structures that are a lot closer than that.
sure, no, I agree.
And I understand they're pre-existing too, and I'm not. I'm
So have you
just-
worked with anyone on this?
Oh, so we have some pictures here, Brian.
Oh, as far as plans, yes,
Yeah.
I've submitted the plans.
I saw the plans. so-
You know, like Andrew just squared off the house on a.
Right, so I saw what you did there, Andrew. Andrew, can you, any way to show where the 30-foot setback is?
Well, it's probably right where the house line is. It's probably right
Well,
to
that's at
30
a bit
feet.
of an angle. If he's,
If he had a plot plan that showed he was 29 feet, we'd be having a different conversation.
yeah.
You might want to verify the distance, maybe continue tonight's meeting, have a surveyor go out and measure the distance to the rear lot line, because if you're 29.11 feet, you have a different case and then you're only a special permit.
Yeah, now you're in a new
If
area.
you're 30 feet, or if you're under 30 feet, you don't need a variance, all you need is a special permit. And you haven't showed that 30-foot dimension there, and if you think that there's any prospect of the closest lot line being under 30 feet, you should have it measured, because you're talking about something that is regularly approved here, as opposed to something that's rarely approved.
I'm not quite clear with that. What I am clear with is how hard it was for me to get this plot plan.
All they have to
How
do is
expensive
have,
this plot plan was.
all they have
And
to
they
do
didn't
is
even
give,
put the 30-foot offset on here.
So if this corner of the house is less than 30 feet to the closest rear lot line,
you're in a different
you have a
place.
special permit case as opposed to a variance, which gives the board far more latitude to approve what you want. So you should have that distance measured by a surveyor, because you might find
You might be in a better position, is what
I
we're saying.
understand.
disapproved.
Took me
But it may
almost
not be as big
6
a
months
deal.
to get this survey.
The surveyor should be able to go right
And I
out
guess
of
he
that
didn't do a
plan.
very good job.
Because if the
He should be able to figure that
22.1
out.
is to the corner of what you want, what you're proposing. So he should be able to go right off of the plan he's got all the measurements, he should be able to go right to the corner of your existing house and tell you right where you're at.
It shouldn't be a
And
big
produce it.
production for them.
Okay.
So we can continue,
The one thing I hear about that is I know that the land surveyor here, and if this is measured 22.1 and it's supposed to be an 8-foot addition, I can almost guarantee you that he measured it as 30.1 from the rear lot line to here. But again, it might be worth verifying that, Jim.
Do you want to just verify it? We'll continue to the next
You
meeting?
don't have a whole lot of choice.
You
Okay.
just don't want it to get denied.
So the
and then-
significance is if you get denied the variance, you can't come back on this for 2 years.
Okay,
So it might make sense to verify that dimension, even if it's unlikely, because otherwise you're out for 2 years if you don't get the required votes.
okay. I'll do what I gotta do.
All right, so, I'll make a motion that we continue 22-102, James and Alyssa Covello, 34 Park Street to, how long do you think it'll take
How
you?
many do we have on 22nd? Lot.
I hope not too long. I mean, he should have the original, he should have the dimensions in
Right.
hand. It's just a matter of contacting him.
You
and
said it
getting
took him
done.
6 months before, so I don't,
Well, it took me that long to get a surveyor to
All
do
right.
the job. That was
He
half
did
the
it, all right.
problem.
when do we have another opening?
There are 11 new cases on the 22nd.
Oh,
So the next one will be
December 13th?
oh, God. Is there,
He doesn't have to do a whole new presentation.
no, he just has to show that, correct?
If, you know, it's
I
the
would
same.
take the next available. If you can't make it, just move it accordingly.
So we'll move him to the 22nd of November, right?
Yeah, that's the next one.
But
All right.
make sure you try to get that into us, so we can see what we can do.
Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Oh, how can we,
AJ? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
do we,
All right, now we, what's it?
did we close it?
No, we continued it.
Oh, all right, close, that's right, all right.
22-103, Malia Spear. The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to construct a 30-foot by 12-foot second-story addition on the property located at 115 Ashburton, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being parcel M08-2007, is located in the R3 zoning district. I don't know, just cough the stuff up there.
You want?
No, it'll be all right. Go ahead.
Hi there. First time, so new at this. So my name's Dustin Brady. I also reside at 115 Ashburton. Malia is my wife. Also be the contractor. So.
I did read right. Oh, okay, yeah, so go ahead.
We're just looking to expand for our growing family. We actually just found out they're having a baby, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So April's gonna come quick, and the house isn't super huge, so we're just trying to add some extra space to be able to accommodate the growing family. So if you have any questions.
You're staying within the existing footprint,
Yes,
just adding a second floor.
second floor, yes.
It's pre-existing non-conforming.
Yes.
Move to grant.
Yeah. I gotta ask any questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? All right, so I'll make a motion that we close 22-103, 115 Ashburton Ave. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian
Mur-
Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Programs, yeah.
All right, and now I'll move that we, the board, vote to grant the petitioner's special permit, subject to the conditions. We require a final as-built and a certificate of occupancy. And Andrew, oh, you got him up there. We all agree.
Oh, I'm ahead of you.
He always, everyone agrees with 1 to 10 on the screen.
I do.
I do.
All right, so all those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Kurt Ramsey.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, I just have a question, I should have brought it up.
Hey, are you the next one?
Next one.
Welcome back up.
Oh, he's here again?
Hi there.
Hey, 22-104. Susan Dunbar, the petition is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to remove and replace a 12-foot 5 deck with a new roof on the property located at 450 Ocean Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being on parcel M0817-11 and is located in the R3 zoning district. Go ahead.
This is literally taking the exact structure off the house and rebuilding it in the exact same
Same
footprint.
footprint?
Yep.
Okay.
Nothing's changed, just structural footings.
All right.
I should say, the only thing that is changing is nothing structural is changing. The pitch of the roof. It's not going to be an A-frame. It's going to be a dormer style roof.
Still on the
It's
same
same exact footprint. Yeah. So that's literally the only thing.
All right, do we have any questions from the board?
Look for a second, give me a minute.
Anything from the audience? You guys have anything?
I'm good.
You have something, Heidi?
I just want to look at one thing, 1 second. Nancy, do we have a deed for this?
Yes. It should be in the electronic file. I didn't include it in the paper file.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay,
Do you have a question?
yep, I just want to double check something.
Oh, all right. So I'll make a motion that we close 22-104 Susan Dunbar, 450 Ocean Street. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Kurt Ramsey.
And I will move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit, subject to the conditions. Plans for construction in a flood zone require a stamp of a registered design professional. This will also require
Have to show the elevation, floodplain elevation, right?
approval, yeah, approval from conservation, require a final as-built and a certificate of occupancy.
The floodplain permit, right?
Yeah,
Yep, okay.
Yeah, Dustin, we need a floodplain permit application.
Totally. Thank you.
all right, so, and we all agree with 1 to 10 up there?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Yep.
To alter and extend a non-conforming residential
So is this-
structure based on a finding that the applicant has demonstrated that he or she meets the requirements of section 1012 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Martin Murphy, aye.
I just have, do we have any renderings of what this is gonna look like? We're not getting any renderings.
We have.
Yeah, I had some drawings up there. It's just such a small thing. I just hand drew them.
Is that, okay,
There's the side view. It's very, very basic.
and we're good with
5 foot by 12 foot. The side's gonna match the siding. It's a dormer style roof, 2 posts.
It's the existing deck. I couldn't tell without the footprint either, so
Right, okay.
the site plan came in after
Okay.
I did my memo.
Okay,
But now it's pretty clear, he's just taking off what's there, putting it up, and then replacing it, so it's fine.
I usually just do my own drawings for small stuff because it saves a lot of money.
Nice drawing.
okay, I just wanted to clarify that, that's fine. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Grover,
Kurt Ramsey.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right, so Ashburton is, that's done. Who's next?
All right, we have 22-105 Donahue Family Realty Trust.
I don't think I have that.
one.
The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to raise the existing non-conforming dwelling and construct a new 49-foot by 30-foot, 2.5-story dwelling and a 7-foot by 30-foot covered front porch and stairs to grade on the property located at 56 Gilbert Street, which is further identified on the assessor maps as being parcel J13-02-05 and is located in the R3 zoning district. Name, address for the record.
I'm Dick Rockwood. I've done the architectural work for the Donahue Family Realty Trust here. There's an existing house here. It's a 1-story, almost a 1.5-story. And we're going to raise the house, as in take it down and build a new 2.5-story residence. We're here because the existing house is non-conforming, but we're staying within those non-conforming dimensions. Might be getting better by 4 or 5 inches than what the existing house is, but nothing will be any more non-conforming than what already exists.
Is it going to be elevated, Dick?
The house is in a barrier beach. It's elevation, I believe, AE9, so it's not, I mean, it's literally 3 feet out of the ground, if that.
Currently or proposed?
Proposed. We're building a new house there.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, but are
will-
you raising it up at all?
Just what we have to,
Okay,
yeah, to meet the AE9 flood zone height, so.
fair enough. And will you have to go in front of Concom for that?
Yes. It's actually in a difficult spot. It's not in a flood zone, exactly where it is. Elevation 9 is there. It's, but it's on a barrier beach. So it's something we have to discuss with Andrew based on some of the pending discussions that they're having, foundation-wise.
On November 4th,
Right.
that situation?
This one's a little more straightforward than the other one.
Okay.
The other one is not located in any area that the state or the town delineates as a barrier beach or coastal dune. That's a different discussion that we're having internally as departments. This one, however, is in an area that the state has delineated as a barrier beach. And when it's in this area, it's got to go to the Conservation Commission. They have a hearing on it. They delineate whether or not this location is a coastal dune. If it is a coastal dune, then the type of construction will change completely, even though it's not in a flood zone. So it would not be able to have a basement. It would be elevated on timber piles and would not have allowed to have any enclosures or obstructions beneath it. And it would be a minimum of 2 feet off the ground to the bottom of the lowest horizontal member. But the Conservation Commission will be the one that determines if it's in a coastal dune, and if it is, how high off the ground it's elevated.
Anything else from the board?
Well, all said, we can pretty much improve what he's got here, though.
Right,
correct?
and then we just add in
And
the
it goes
link.
to conservation.
Andrew gave us this nice language to add in there.
Brian, I did a question. Dick, I didn't see the lot coverage calculations on this. This one's a real small lot. You know what the lot coverage was on this one?
Dick Morse had it in there. I think he has it in his notes.
I didn't see it.
Site plan?
I know one of those things. I
Oh,
looked
the only
at.
reason I brought it up was because this was a very small lot. I think you're fine, but I couldn't tell.
Andrew, can you blow up that corner of the zoning table? I thought he had it
No,
in
he
there.
has all the setbacks, but not the calculations on the lot.
If it's unchanged, should we just issue a finding?
I think the house is squared off, though. I think the new structure is bigger.
Dick can do the math
So
real
it's-
quick.
Yeah, it's a 5,000 square foot lot, and the house is,
We can
30 by
figure this out.
49.
There you go. No, I'm
39
scaling off
and a
the site
half.
plan. The survey
Get
is
Bernie on it.
30 by 49. Did we say 30?
Back at the
Yeah,
SATs.
30 by, well, 30 by 50 is 1,500 square feet. So it's under 1,500 square feet out of a 5,000 square foot lot.
You're all
So-
set.
That's fine.
Yeah, so we're fine.
In the areas of you're all set.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So, anything from the audience? Anything from the audience online? Anything else from the board?
Just as a condition, the final elevation of the house shall be determined after, conservation gives their
Yeah,
order of conditions.
Andrew gave us a bunch of language in here, and I'm just gonna put in the conditions. All right? All right, so I'll make a motion that we close 22-105 56 Gilbert Street. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Eddie Conway, aye.
Crow Van Zant.
All right, so
Thank you.
now we gotta, I move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit subject to these conditions. This project will first require approval of a Conservation Commission to delineate whether or not the area is of a barrier beach or coastal dune. If the Conservation Commission determines that the property is a coastal dune, the Conservation Commission shall determine in its order of conditions what the required design flood elevation will be. If it is delineated as a coastal dune, this foundation type will not be sufficient for a building permit and will require a new structurally engineered design with open pilings and no footings and no enclosures or obstructions beneath the elevated structure. This will require Conservation Commission approval, demolition permit, building permit, final as-built, elevation certificate, and a non-conversion agreement, and a certificate of occupancy. So, is it in that floodplain, Andrew, or no? I think you said no,
No.
right? Yeah, you said no. Yeah.
Not enough.
It's Barry Beach.
All right, so, and we agree.
Just
Can you-
incorporate Andrew's comments from his memo. You don't have to read
Okay.
them all.
I read them all. After the fact, I'll incorporate Andrew's bumbling stuff I just did. All right.
I was interested in hearing them.
Yeah, and I did a poor job of reading it, so I'd agree.
You passed your reading
Yeah,
test.
I didn't.
Dick passed the math test.
So, Andrew, can you put up our 1 to 10 for the special permit? We all agree
I do.
I do.
these regulations? I do. So, do I have a second on what I said?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye?
Brian Murphy, aye.
Eddie Conway, aye.
Crow Van Zant.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever he does again?
B but a B. So we have 233 Foster Ave.
Yeah.
Is there anyone here?
Not Middle Street? Was
Yeah.
the next one?
22106.
Is that you?
Yeah, what?
Oh, sorry, Middle Street. I skipped ahead.
Okay.
Well, I mean.
Are you Middle Street?
No.
No, we're
it's
Foster Ave.
Foster
Oh, is there anyone here from Middle Street? Well, why don't we just
Well,
do
they're here.
Foster Ave, we'll get it over with.
Be done with it.
Works for me.
Sit down, we'll do it. We already gave your name for the record. So,
Back on the beach.
yeah,
Yes.
22-108, James and Lisa Bonasia,
Bonacia.
butchered the name. The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-1012 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to extend the first floor on the front 7 feet by 26 feet into the existing 6'7" by 25'4" one-story porch and add 5 feet by 19-foot extension to the rear of the house, a 7-foot by 26-foot addition over the existing one-story covered porch, and a 5-foot by 19-foot addition over the new existing at the rear of the house on a property located at 233 Foster Ave, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being parcel L10-1510 and is located in the R3 zoning district. Go ahead.
I'm Dick Rockwood. I did the architectural work for the Bonacias. It's an old cottage that had already been elevated on concrete piers, probably 15 years ago. It meets all the existing flood zone requirements. And it's a two-story house right now, and we're adding a half-story attic up above after we expand over the porch. And we're not making the house any more non-conforming than what exists. I need the height on here too.
So do we have anything from the board? Andrew, do you wanna, I see you have a lengthy description here again.
Yep. We gotta get a floodplain permit applied for, so I can do a substantial improvement determination, and get an elevation certificate. Without the elevation certificate, I can't determine whether or not it meets the current requirements, and where this is in a coastal dune. If it meets the current requirements, they don't have to do anything with the foundation, it's fine. But if it doesn't, then they would have to make a modification, but the only way I can verify that is with an elevation certificate. So getting the floodplain permit application in would be good. And then any of the new or modified walls that are parallel to and are within 5 feet of a lot line need to be constructed as a fire rated assembly.
You have anything, Bob?
No.
Anything else? The audience, online audience? Any board members? All right, I'll make a motion that we close 22-109, 233 Foster Ave. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
And before you read all the
I'm not going,
requirements,
I'm
just
going to
incorporate
incorporate
the comments from the building inspector.
Comments from the building commissioner. So I don't sound like I sound. All right, I move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit, subject to the conditions of incorporating the building commissioner's comments, which go all the way down to a certificate of occupancy. And we all agree with the 1 to 10, Andrew. You were ahead of me before.
I do.
I do.
I do.
To alter and extend a non-conforming residential structure based on a finding that the applicant has demonstrated that they meet all the requirements in section 1012 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is Middle Street here?
17 Middle.
17 Middle Street?
Anybody in the hallway?
Anyone, Middle Street? I'll just open it up and then extend it.
Yep.
22-106, 17 Middle Street. This project is located in the R3 district. Oh, I'm reading from the wrong place. It's intelligent. That's this stuff. Wait, is that the same thing? I'll find it. This is disorganization. Just need this. Oh, yeah, that's it. 22-106, Karen and Jonathan D. Parsons. The petitioner is seeking a special permit in accordance with 305-902 of the Marshfield Municipal Code to stay within the footprint and raise the existing 15.52 by 27.52 dwelling, 5.1 feet times 27.52 deck on the left, and 28 feet by 20.62 in rear deck, which are currently on piles 4 feet from 4 feet from 16-foot 4 to 20-foot 4, using 12-inch diameter wooden piles on the property located at 17 Middle Street, which is further identified on the assessor's maps as being parcel N070130, as located in the R3 zoning district. Is there anyone here for this case? All right. I move that we
Continue it to the,
continue this till December 13th.
Good evening, Jed Hayden with Atlantic Coast Engineering.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you, sorry about that, I was,
On another.
trying to get set up here.
Jim, what we want to do? Snooze.
Go ahead.
Okay, great, thank you. So, this particular project location, as the board may very well know, abuts a seawall that was recently raised approximately 2.5 feet. And so, you know, it's impacted several of the abutting properties in terms of their views. This particular house is below the FEMA flood elevation. So it's really kind of a twofold project, is to raise it up above the FEMA flood elevation, but also to sort of get back the view that they once had with respect to, you know, the Atlantic Ocean and the surrounding area. I'm just going to pull up the ZBA filings, which was the Form 2 and the Form 2C. Just out of formality, quick question. Do you want me to go, you know, basically read each question and then describe it?
No, you can just explain what you're doing, like you
Okay.
just did.
So I'll just keep it really simple.
Yeah.
The proposed footprint is not changing at all. They're just going up vertically. So basically, in terms of sequence of work, utilities get connected, the existing house gets moved, new piles get driven to the elevation that they need to be in order to raise the house approximately 4 feet. The house gets set back in place, reconnected, utilities get reconnected, and essentially that's it. The footprint is not changing. It's just proposed to go up 4 feet, along with the decks and the porches that surround the house. This filing, as you pretty much described in the beginning, it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot and pre-existing non-conforming in terms of the setback. So that's why we're here before you folks. We already have Conservation Commission approval and a signed order of conditions that's been recorded. At this point, I'll open up to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
I'm good.
Questions from the audience? Andrew, I see you have a nice explanation here. I'll be incorporating that in the decision. Is there anything you'd like to speak to?
Just that I haven't seen the order of conditions, but I don't believe that they specified elevation at the height that the structure is required to be at. This is a coastal dune, and they're supposed to have done that, but I haven't seen the order of conditions yet, but I don't think that they did.
Okay. So that, you covered that in this language you have in your answer, right?
Yes, sir.
Is the lot coverage stuff on there? Building coverage, open space, 76? Okay.
Yeah, I think Andrew's got it covered too.
Move to close?
Yeah, so,
Technically, the house is in a B zone, is that correct?
Ye-
Because of this little corner? That's correct, yeah, it's in both the
Are
V.
you moving it back out of it, or are you gonna keep it in the exact same position?
Exact same position. There was really no way to kind of get it out of there, if you will, based on the dimensions the owner desired. So we're obviously, the elevation certificate and the design is in conformance with FEMA's regulations on BE zones, which is the finished floor has to be 2 feet above the lowest, the FEMA flood elevation.
So Andrew, you covered that in your, where you say it's a VE 18 zone, right?
It's a VE 18, so that means that basically the top of the pile or the bottom, the lowest structural horizontal member has to be at elevation 20.
And that happens naturally because it's in both zones, so you go to the worst zone.
You go to a more restrictive zone, and so that's the basic requirements for Massachusetts. If the Conservation Commission didn't add any more restrictive language, that's what I would issue the building permit under.
Okay. All right. Any questions from the audience? Board? Nope. Online audience? Seeing that there's none, I move that we close, my confusion, 22-106 Karen and Jonathan Parsons, 17 Middle Street. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Ryan Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Lorenzo.
And I move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for a special permit, subject to the conditions from the building commissioner's language that he wrote in his paper. And to alter and extend a non-conforming residential structure based on a finding that the applicant has demonstrated they meet all the requirements in section 1012 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second. Larry Keane, aye.
Yeah, I just did. Oh,
Favor.
we got, Andrew, you put up those 10 things we were going to agree with anyways, hopefully. Everyone agree with our 10
I do.
requirements? I do.
I do.
All right. So Larry seconded.
Yep.
Second.
So all in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Now we're into the old business, which is only one, the school. Come on in. What's that?
Oh, we have to continue. and you have to go back. Did we
What am I
do that?
continuing?
Oh, Ocean Street.
We'll do that quickly.
First of all, I'm gonna move that we continue 2284 James Marathis, TAG Family Trust, 50 Ocean Street to December 13th. Do I have a second?
Okay.
Larry Keane, second.
So all in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Heidi Conway, aye.
Lorenzo.
Thank you. All right, go ahead. I don't have to read anything. You've already been read in.
Okay, I'm Roy Cat, can you hear me? Yep. Issue last time. Roy Catagnani representing Concert Group, the architect and builder, and we have Bob Rigo, I think, is here, who's our civil engineer. We may have Jack Gillen, I'm not sure if I see him. I don't know him, but he was our traffic engineer. We asked him to come. Jack here? There he is. Okay. So, since our last hearing, we've had a number of conversations by email and telephone, and I wanted to, last time, told you I would introduce you to the owner of my client, owner of this company. This is Tanya.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sydney, her daughter, who's the
Hello.
general manager.
Thanks for coming out.
So we wanted them to be here so they can answer questions that, I think last time you met one of their principals, right? So there may be some more specific questions on the traffic issue. So we spent most of the time in the last 2 weeks talking about traffic with Ed and then your traffic engineer. And I think, based on emails as late as today, we successfully received a letter of approval from Ron Muller. You will hopefully all have a copy of that. And I think we had a letter or an email from Ed recommending approval. I know we received previously a report from your engineer for drainage, that they were okay with it. And then I think lastly, you received a report positively from your fire department with regard to access and turning radiuses. So at this point, hopefully we've addressed all of the questions put forward to us by your consultant team. We wanted to come forward. The very last question I think we addressed this week had to do with queuing, the question of queuing onto proprietors. So in order to address that, and that's why we asked Jack to come, I think he wrote an email to everybody's attention. Hopefully all the boards saw this, sort of addressing questions raised by Ron Muller and company. Kirsten, your traffic engineer, just with particular regard to queuing. I think that all the other issues associated with the mitigation fee that you're going to ask us to pay have been resolved. I think all the other issues that we know of are resolved. The only question was there any possibility of queuing? So, to that end, I'll just summarize by saying we sent out this piece of paper. Hopefully you all saw this. Basically, we added the bottom box, because Ed asked us the last minute, please, not only to look at the peak hour between, I think it was 8 and 8:15 a.m. Monday to Friday, but he also asked us to look at the another large hour in the afternoon, which we did. And we came to the, I think, summary conclusion that the worst case scenario is 27 vehicles. We've represented that we have 25 staff, 25 spaces are available. So the simple math there would be that if in a worst case scenario, we have 27 vehicles over a 15-minute period, we were told by the principal that there's only a 5-minute stay. So that means really it's almost like 3 times the number of spaces are available because there's 5 minutes in and out. So that's, as far as we were concerned, a substantial margin for error, that there is zero chance that any of our clients in drop-off or pickup will be in proprietors. And if indeed if that math didn't prove out, also we have queuing space right on our own property. So we feel as if, we hope we have, and Jack, of course, made a similar argument, put that in writing, I hope you all have. We feel very confident that we're sort of solid 100% that we will not have any queuing. Now, I can add testimony from someone who's run 10, 15 of these schools, if you'd like some anecdotal information about this. We did provide camera footage. The challenge with that was we didn't want it to be accurate, so it didn't really show us all of the entrances. We couldn't get real accurate data there. So what you have in front of you, and it's referenced, the data comes from a software program called Kangaroo Software, so they actually literally check in every student and check out. So that's pretty accurate. I mean, the only time lag there might be a minute or a half minute from when they come in the door to the classroom and back out. So I think your engineer was okay with the method, and we hope our consultants are satisfied. I would open this up to any questions you may have, either you or your consultant.
Do we have anything from the board on this?
No.
I'd like to hear what. Yeah, anything from the audience, or?
Is there a second egress to this? We had asked about that.
Yeah, so that's what, I'm not gonna speak, let Jack speak to that. We had asked about that because we were worried about, obviously, the queuing, but maybe one of you could answer that as to why we don't need the second egress and why you didn't feel it was a safety issue.
I don't know where you were. But I'm Jack Gillen, I'm traffic engineer.
Come up to a microphone.
Anyways, I did take a look at it, I looked at some other schools, I've got a lot of other sites with that,
Jack,
with the child.
I think they want you to come to the mic, sorry. The people on mic.
You can pull a seat up if you want.
It's all right. I've been sitting all night. I'm Jack Gillen. I'm a registered professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. My license is silver, which also covers the traffic. And I've known Ron Mueller for an awful long time. I've looked at what he's written. I've done a lot of studies of my own. And because of what we're basically looking at here, with you're going to hit the lot itself, based on what I'm seeing, the demand's going to be 27. Your supply is going to be around 25. We think it's going to be a little bit less than that because all of the staff is not there until a little bit later. So, and like we were just saying, the longest, the average stay is about 5 minutes to drop off and pick up. Some parents, I've seen them, they drop, if they're a little bit older, drop and go. If they're a newborn, an infant, then I don't know what age this particular one goes, but it's a little bit more. One, because it's so hard to give up your child when they're that age, and they got in the winter time, but they're all bundled up, so they can't even recognize that there's a little baby in there. My son has a brand new baby, so I'm going. But anyways, well, the half the lot is gonna be mostly staffed. There's gonna be a few spaces, there's some gonna be out. Some some are gonna come in later after that. But basically, that 25 is gonna be there. Plus, the average is in and out of there in 5 minutes. So the first that come in 5 minutes, they're gone during the next 5, and then the 2 that came, they're gone during the third 5-minute period, being the 15-minute period. So based on all of this and personal observations, there's not going to be queuing back onto Proprietor's Drive. Now, I'm assuming, and I probably shouldn't do that because I know what that does, but you know, if we see a demand for 27 and we're saying we have 25 that are going to be open, then someone's going to say, well, you know, that means you shot 2 spaces, so you know, maybe you may want to look at that. I'm not sure how that was left. But basically, there is not going to be any queuing out on the Proprietor's Drive. And I think we were pretty much in line with that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's the way that all handled out, shook out. And sometimes for security, you don't like to have a lot of access and egress onto school property. You want to control that, so that was the second reason why we'd rather not get into the multi, unless you needed it, and we don't, we know we're not going to need it. The fire department, I guess, signed off and everything the way it was.
Turning movements are shown, I think, on the plan you have.
All right.
Thanks.
I'd ask the audience if you had questions, because I know that was one of your concerns.
There's some traffic also. I'm just curious, did you do your analysis and factor in the drop-off and pickup time that the Boys and Girls Club?
Name and address, please, for the record.
Deborah Woods, 35 Snowy Owl.
Thank you.
No. You know, because I myself have had to turn around when the Boys and Girls Club has had events and drop-offs and turn around and go back on 139 and come back around.
Yeah, I
So
know
I
the Boys
can't
and Girls.
imagine the additional, if they're dropping off and picking up at the same time of day, which I assume would probably be the case, but I don't know.
Are you talking about the Boys and Girls Club
Yeah.
and them? All right.
You know, because I don't know, they, in the summer, people drop off at like 8 and pick up about 4, you know. Yeah.
Well, that's what they did. I think they broke it down. I won't speak on their behalf, but from what I understand, they broke down those timeframes, and that's how they determined the queuing, meaning that we wouldn't hopefully run into any queuing during their timeframes. With the Boys and Girls Club, that's obviously, that problem is that problem.
Precedes us.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with this. Go ahead, name and.
Dennis Shatnoff, Snowy Owl. I did submit a letter. Did that get to everybody, hopefully? Okay, good. So, same question that came up on the second.
Egress?
Yeah, having the entrance on Commerce and the egress on Proprietors, if need be. So that we avoid any potential queuing. Now, I understand, and in my letter I made this clear, I understand that queuing for the daycare is one thing. Queuing overall for all the traffic that's going to be circulating up there is of great concern to residents. So it's not just daycare coming up Proprietors in the morning. There'll be Starboard kids, New England Academy and Mill Creek and so on and so forth. And I did make very clear in the letter, I thought I did, is that there are some significant health-related issues that can occur for residents who are adjacent to the property if we have any type of queuing. And again, I'm looking at it not just queuing on the part of the daycare, but there's a lot of other development coming up into the area. In fact, there's 4 new developments coming online. So we're still feeling very strong that we would like to see is a second driveway that would be one way in, one way out, put in place.
I understand what you're saying, but from what I understand from them, I'll let them speak to it, not me, but is that they don't have a queuing problem. So I would let you guys address that.
We just addressed that a moment ago. We just don't mathematically have a problem. We won't be queuing.
Right, you
on
don't have a
proprietors.
queuing,
So
right.
what traffic exists there really,
That's
not
it.
our burden. I don't
Yeah.
know how to solve that. But
They're not going to be out on proprietors, is what they're telling us.
And you run how many other schools?
Yeah, so just to introduce myself, and I apologize that I haven't been able to be here for the last couple of meetings. I'm Tanya Stump. I'm one of the owners of Starboard Academy. This is my daughter, Sydney, and she's actually one of the co-owners.
Okay. That's okay.
But I started my first school back in '95, grew to 15 locations in Ohio, sold them in '08, and thought I was ready to retire. And then my daughter was like, wait, what do you mean you're going to retire? This is what I've wanted to do all my life. So we've partnered up together, and we have a school in South Dennis, where we live on the Cape. And we also have a school in Plymouth that's been around for now almost 2 years, 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
And which is a great prototype and model for what we're planning on building in Marshfield. And we're super excited to be a part of this community. And fortunately, because we do have a lot of the means in place of the Kangaroo Time, which is an app that gives our parents minute-by-minute information and photos about their students, as well as the cameras throughout the school and the parking lot, we were able to ascertain and make very clear that queuing is never been an issue. And as a matter of fact, with our school in Plymouth, we share a lot of parking with the medical facility, and the traffic is even more, I would say, congested than what I feel it would be on Proprietor's Lane or Drive. But I think, also in addition to where we're really I would say will give pushback on a second drive is more importantly for the safety of the children. And that is
You have
our
the two play areas.
Absolutely. That is our number one, that's my number one job, to make sure that the children under our care are in a safe environment. And putting a parking or putting a drive behind there would put them in harm's way. And I don't feel confident in doing that. We've proven.
If I could interrupt for a second.
Sure.
Your facility in Dennis and your facility, or your school in Dennis, your school in Plymouth, are they similarly sized to what you're proposing here?
Yes, as a matter of fact, our school in South Dennis has a capacity for 181 students, so even more. And we're part of a condominium association in a very tight quarter, very strategic intersection area, even more so than this.
Right.
Or
With those schools, have you experienced any issues with queuing?
Never.
Have you had any complaints from your abutters, your neighbors?
No,
with
not at
queuing
all.
At either location?
No.
And with this, you said the Kangaroo app? I'm sorry, I don't know
That's
what that
okay.
is.
So I'll let Cindy, you explain Kangaroo Time.
So Kangaroo Time is our parent communication app, which is what we use to not only allow families to be fully aware of what's going on throughout the day, but it's also our billing app. It's the way that families check their children in and out. So it's great because families use it as a security entrance into our facility. So only families enrolled have the entrance ability to our schools, but it gives us live time of when children are checked in and checked out, which is required by licensing. So that is
Required by,
licensing.
Oh, okay.
State of
Sorry.
Massachusetts. Yeah.
I'm a terrible hearing. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
No, you're
I
fine.
don't mind repeating.
And I think one of the questions too is, I think it was brought up about the drive, maybe it was Roy, whenever this was first proposed to us, was the difference between what they're wanting with a drive for this facility versus the drive that we have for a second entrance at Starboard in Plymouth is we have a buffer of parking spaces that line up with, so there's not like this active car path that's right next to the playground.
Mhm. Thank you. Thanks for answering my questions.
How, is there any of your other facilities as close to residential as it is to us? We know Plymouth isn't because it's in an industrial park, but I'm not familiar with your others.
Well, South Dennis is very, very much
As
so.
close as it is right across the street? Okay. Yeah. And have there been any mitigation programs that you've been involved with around noise mitigation and things like that?
You mean as far as concerns about?
Right.
No, not at all.
Okay.
So I have a question. Do you have any events there? I know, like, my kids were just recently left daycare, thank God. But Do you have any events there where all the parents do come for like holiday shows or whatever, and how do you handle that? You don't have anything where parents come and see the kids graduate or a
We
holiday
do. So we
something?
do have events, but however, we do it specifically on each class so that we don't have a huge congestion of families coming all at once. So it's per class at different times, so it's scattered
Staggered.
in. Yeah, exactly how we would do the morning drop-offs and the pickups in the afternoon. So it's
not a situation that all 150
Everybody's doing a Halloween parade at the same time or whatever.
Exactly. No, that would be complete chaos.
Go ahead.
Maureen O'Malley, 12 Old Woodlot Lane. How many of your other schools have only one entrance and exit?
The South Dennis location only has one entrance and one exit.
Okay.
Any other questions?
May I go up and?
Who is that?
Hello, Dennis Kelleher, 19 Snowy. I have a question relative to, you understand what, there's a group of people that live just directly across the street from your driveway and the units. And I know this doesn't go very far, but most of us are over, a good number of us are over 70 years old, just right across the road. Is there any plan to do any kind of buffering or assisting us with buffering from the noise and sound and the traffic that would be coming in and out? I mean, you're literally less than 60 feet across the road to us. Have you thought about that at all in trying to lessen the impact to the neighbors?
I think the plan speaks for itself. All of the playgrounds are on the opposite side of the lot from you. If children's sound of play is an issue, certainly there's a minimum amount of disturbance on the lot that we can possibly do, so there'll be some natural vegetation remaining. There's a full landscape plan proposed. I think it's fair to say there's just not going to be noise from this facility. I think that's the best way to answer you.
All right, I'm just not talking, I'm talking about visually as well. Can you tell us or explain what your plan is as far as landscaping and how you would line of sight to the people that are less than 60 feet away?
Well, I think you have a stand of trees between you and us, firstly, and then secondly, the landscaping is not designed to obscure a view of our facility. It's a beautiful facility. I'm sure you've driven by Plymouth. And so it's very much a feature to the neighborhood. So the landscaping is designed to complement, not obscure, the facility.
I think the question, to add on to that question, I think it was, we wanted to see if there was a way to leave layer of natural trees that are there along the perimeter of the property, for a couple of reasons. Not necessarily to obscure visibility, but to some extent, but also because those trees are very visible up into the community of the residences, and it creates part of that oneness of the community, being able to see those trees up and so on and so forth.
So there are many limitations in building these days, including drainage requirements, slope easements, and so we've accommodated every single requirement of every engineering firm that you have had look at this project, and every tree that we can leave will remain as long as we can build it as drawn.
So the answer is you can potentially leave some of the...
Absolutely, everyone that's not in the way of construction will be left.
Okay. Is there a way to find that out? I mean...
Just watch us,
later,
watch us.
You have to start construction to find that out.
Well, if we've...
It just seems to me that you would like to be able to come into the community, and we're living here, to come into the community and try and do the very best you can to be good neighbors. That's all we're asking.
That's right.
Ed, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, hi everybody, Ed Pesci from Pesci Engineering. I've been listening obviously very astutely to everything that's been said. A couple of things to go over. I'll be real brief. There are two areas that require, we believe, recommended conditions if the board is so, decides to approve the project. One is one that Amory engineers put in their review letter, one is that final soil evaluations will be done at the infiltration areas, and those soil evaluations will be provided. The records of the soil evaluations will be provided to the board. The second one, as I've already alluded to, and I just want to put a little bit of clarification on it, and that is a traffic mitigation that's required for this area as part of the original VRT Enterprise Park work. That is at $630 per peak weekday evening peak trip. So I originally had used the higher number of 91 peak trips. That was a morning trip run, but 89 was the correct number. So the correct number for the record, which is in Ron Mueller's second, Kirsten Braun's second letter, final traffic review letter, is $56,070. Just for the record, I wanted to correct that as well. So slightly less than the original number I had mentioned at the last hearing. Lastly, I have to say that Mr. Cottignani is correct in regards to all the different things that they have reacted to, responded to, and tried to address from all the consultants, both Amory, myself, and Ron Mueller and Associates. And they have, in my opinion, satisfactorily addressed all of them. The one remaining one that recently, as yesterday and today, we were still talking about, was the subject of queuing on the road. And it sounds like Mr. Gillen has discussed it to you, described it to you. Sounds like the owner and operator has described it as well. I think the data that they provided from the Kangaroo software helped identify potential issue, minor as it might be, and they and that was the point that was alluded to earlier, in that if there are 50 parking spaces and 50 staff, 25 staff, that leaves 25 parking spaces open for drop-off, and there were 2 periods in the 8 to 9 o'clock a.m. hour where there were 27 parking spaces needed. Now, it was stated that not all the staff will be there at that period. I guess I understand that. The plans that Andy is showing you right now are a previous revision that don't show the additional 2 parking spaces that were shown on the plan today. So I just wanted to make sure that the board agrees or disagrees with the need for an additional 2 parking spaces. I would recommend that you do that. It's not a big significant change. It's not a significant additional cost in the site work picture. And it gives you that added level of protection. Because it is a model. It's not a perfect, it's a model. It's a queuing model. It's a record. It's not a perfect situation all the time. Having those extra 2 spaces, I believe, will allow for easy parking for pickup and drop-off periods, and I believe I agree with their point with that and the amount of space that you could drive vehicles into in the drive aisle. They would not have queuing of parents that are coming in to drop off or pick up students out on Proprietors Drive. So I think they've really gone the extra mile in trying to answer all of our questions, and went the extra mile today and sent in an updated plan with those extra 2 parking spaces. And I would recommend that you accept that plan if you indeed are suited and so disposed to approve the project. Do you have any questions?
Brian,
for me?
Mr. Pecci, I wanted to ask, so do you have a written report that has been made available that shows this research that has been done and the parameters used to determine this traffic, the traffic issues?
There's a written traffic report, and then there's a written, and I didn't see, Andy didn't bring it up on the screen, but I didn't see it tonight, but there's actually a table, updated table dated 24 October. And Roy, I'm sure you've got it in front of you that you can show people.
You want to hand that around?
Oh, we can get the,
Yeah, we got that.
Right.
Oh,
It shows the breakdown by the peak hour in the day, in the morning, and the peak hour in the evening, and shows exactly how many vehicles were counted in that 15-minute period, which in 2 different time periods, 2 different days, there was 27. That was the highest. Most of them were less than 20, which gives me some, and significantly less than 20, give me some comfort and confidence that there's adequate room on site to bring people in off the road, drop off or pick up children, and then traverse back out on the road. Some additional striping has been done to make the entrance and exit lane and activity safer, and that's all part of the latest plans as well.
And if I might ask a second question, have you done a study as to the, given the prevailing winds that exist at the top of the hill, the issues associated with the carcinogens that come from car exhaust, that when they go up will blow right into the condominium complex? Has there been any study on that? That is a great concern to all of us.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. I missed,
Exhaust,
didn't hear that.
the traffic associated with just the daycare, never mind all the traffic coming up there. Exhaust fume, dissemination of those fumes based on the fact that, as you know, it gets extremely windy, and that will be blowing in, depending on the prevailing winds on any given day, into the condo complex. And we'd like to understand whether that's going to be of any dangerous level, given, again, the winds are brutal up there, as you know, and as that exhaust comes up, and if you take a look at some of the research, you don't have to have more than 3 cars queued up with engines running, and that coming up to be sending very, very dangerous fumes over into the condo complexes. Has there been anything done in that regard?
I'm not aware of any study in that regard.
Okay. So, Mr. Chairman, is that something we could ask to get done?
You're talking about a study of the pollution?
Yeah, yeah, the exhaust, based on the exhaust.
Well, there is no queuing.
Yeah, our parents don't leave their cars running whenever they park.
They drive in, park,
They
let the
drive in
kids
and
out.
park and take the children in, so it's not a situation.
I understand, you're gonna have cars going in and cars coming out. There's gonna be a lot of traffic coming in and out in the morning during those 3 hours that it's gonna throw off exhaust.
I think your
They make
idea,
a funny face.
your idea is borderline insane.
I think your comment is close to the same.
No, it's based
Are
on
you a
reality.
scientist?
No, I'm not a scientist. I'm neither.
Okay.
I'm a high school graduate.
If you were a chemist, I'd say, okay, I'll accept your
No, the reality
your
is
criticism.
the reality is you live in the world. In the world that you live in, the winds don't blow in the same direction all the time. And for 15 minutes when the cars come in and go out, the premise that you propose is that there would be some way of measuring scientifically the impact of exhaust for a 15-minute window when the wind is...
What window are you talking about? It's a 2
When-
to 3 hour window.
when the cars are dropping kids off, blowing in the direction of your condo. How could that ever possibly be measured?
They do exhaust
To a
studies all the
scientific
time.
certainty.
It's
It's not possible.
Yeah,
It's like car exhaust is not considered one of our environmental performance standards that we use to condition any projects.
Okay,
That's the town's position.
yes, I
Okay.
guess so. So, go ahead, Bernie.
May I come up and have you put that map up?
Can you put the drawing up, Andrew? Go ahead.
Thank you. You know, I'm happy that there's a school going in there as opposed to another development with, you know, 1,000 or so residents. I think it speaks well on the behalf of that. I don't live near this area, but I certainly understand. I live around the corner over here. And when this proposal first came up, I brought up the fact that you've got one entrance, one exit. And looking at the studies that you have, at the time it said there were going to be 145 cars over a 3-hour span, 25 faculty and 120 parents being dropped off. That's all well and good, but I think what people are failing to see here is you've got 145 cars coming in, and maybe 25 staff will be parking there, but you're still gonna have 120 cars going out. So you've got really not 145 cars, and you get 260 cars trying to get in and out, and that same exit right there. Around the corner where this development is, with about 55 units where I live, 30 from here, 500 plus units coming from this way, add the additional school traffic to the new school, this intersection, you're probably gonna have to put a traffic light under there or something. Trying to get out of here and go down this way is gonna be next to impossible with cars backed up trying to get in here, cars trying to get out. You tell me there's no queuing. How are they gonna get in when these people are trying to get out? And these people are trying to get down. There's three-way traffic here, not just one way in and another way out, which is what I have suggested. Drive in, park the car, drive out here. Those people have an option. I'm going to Boston, Hanover, Pembroke. I'm gonna go down that way and I'll exit out of Enterprise. I'm going back to Pembroke, maybe a third of them will be, drive out here, come down and go down this way. You're forcing all of this traffic in the entire school to go in and out, in and out.
Why couldn't those same people take a right there and go that way, the way you just described?
They could possibly, but the bottom line is it's not a one-way street. What happened to the map here?
Oh, he's trying to show the street so you can show what you're talking about.
Where are we?
You see that intersection? That's your, right there. That's where you are.
Okay. If this is where the school's gonna be.
Schools, yeah, right closer to you guys, but yeah.
The traffic is gonna come in here and be forced again out there. The traffic from all of these areas is gonna come down this way, go down this way. You're gonna be fighting traffic trying to get down this way. These people are trying to get back down this way. There's no second exit. For nothing else, for traffic is one thing. The other part of it is for fire and ambulance. There is no second exit here. You've got traffic that's all there, cars backed up, an ambulance or fire trying to get in there, there's no way to get in. This is gonna back up. It's not 145 cars, it's double that amount. People going in, people going out, the same entrance, the same exit. I don't think it's asking too much if you can put the other traffic or the building pattern up there.
Andrew, can you get that back on there? Oh, sorry, they're looking for the drawing for the school. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think it's asking a great deal, and I've measured this, okay? This is only a 25-foot road, by the way, 21-foot road. I don't think it's asking a lot to have traffic come in this way, exit this way. You've got a perfect flow of traffic. There's no congestion. You're not fighting traffic in, traffic going out. Exit out this way, you've eliminated that interchange exit and go out that way. And when I suggested that to the engineer, this guy up here, Bob Rigo, okay? And I said, there's gonna be a traffic problem. There is one already. I said, I live in this area. It's congested now trying to get out of this way. And I said, and we're trying to work with you people because we like the idea of a school coming in. You know what his response was?
What?
I'm going to tell you point blank, and Bob, you're there. I dare you to deny you didn't say this to me. You said, well, instead of you taking this area this way and going down here, why don't you just go down Commerce Way out into Enterprise and come back out that way? Does that sound to you? Does that sound to you like someone who wants to cooperate and work with the neighborhood? It doesn't to me. Basically, and I did that just for the hell of it. I went out this way, and instead of going down this way, which is 0.6 of a mile, down to this exit, I did exactly what he did. I went all the way down here, Enterprise, picked up Enterprise, came out, stopped at that traffic light, had to pull out into 139 and hit the second traffic light. It's over a mile longer and 4 minutes longer in my time. I live in that neighborhood. Should I be inconvenienced by having to go out of my way over a mile and add 4 additional 4 minutes just to go downtown? That doesn't seem reasonable.
Aren't you suggesting that everyone exiting our property would do the same thing?
I'm sorry?
You're suggesting that everyone that exits this driveway, you're proposing, no one else, but you are proposing,
Yeah.
would have to do the same thing.
No, I'm not
That's what you
saying
just
that.
said.
I'm saying this is what this gentleman's response was.
That's an option for you at any time, but the point is, it's the same, it's a forced option you're creating for us to suggest we would do that.
Doesn't it make sense to mitigate the traffic? What is the objection to going on here?
Did you not hear her say that?
No, I didn't.
It's the two,
So-
three playgrounds that are in
So
that area.
you were in education, correct? All right. So we've proven that there's not going to be a queuing issue. But aside from that, if you put,
Excuse me,
Well, you haven't proved it.
You haven't
No.
proven anything.
No, you haven't proved anything.
Okay,
Okay.
you got an engineer that says there's probably not going to be, and I disagree.
well, actually,
45 cars coming in
Yeah.
and 140 cars going out, there's going to be a queuing problem.
okay, I can
Well, you
I
can
can
listen-
assure.
Listen, that's enough. You guys can beg to disagree.
Yeah.
I've heard enough on this. Do you have anything else?
I'd like to know what the objection is. Why can't there be an exit? There's certainly room. Why can't there be an exit there?
I can tell you what they told us, it's a safety issue, but if you'd like,
What is the safety issue?
I'll have them explain it again. Those are the playgrounds, they don't want the cars going out next to the playgrounds.
Why not put a fence there?
Even
Simple fence
even
only.
even with a simple fence, a car in the magnitude of driving could go through that fence. And I'm not willing to put the children that I care for, that I have my life on the line for a drive that we have proven, regardless of what you think, we have proven it, and we have many prototypes to show that there will not be a queuing issue. Trust me, I don't want to sit in traffic either. I'm going to have to drive to this facility. My daughter's going to drive to this facility. Do you think my families would be happy if they had to sit there? They need to get to work.
So if you're sitting in traffic here and waiting for cars to come in and go out, you're not gonna mind that at all?
That's not going to be a problem.
You're
That's
saying
not,
it's not gonna be a problem.
No.
no.
Well, they don't
And there's
believe
not gonna
they're gonna
be-
create that problem, so if the problem's created, it's not through their,
Well, it is because you've got their traffic created, the traffic from two developments, Madera 1 or Madison, and another Madera. The other school down here, there's gonna be a huge
I understand what you're saying, Bernie, but they're responsible for handling what they're handling on their property, so.
You also have to remember, Mr. Tweed, that the peer engineer has chimed in on this, the fire department, the police department, they've all given their
And the
opinions
fire
on it.
department didn't recommend a second exit?
The fire department agreed with what's there.
Boy, I tell you, somebody dropped the ball here.
Is that letter on the town website from the fire department?
Is it?
No, I
It's,
don't believe any.
Nancy has
We
everything.
want to
It's-
review
it's-
these.
It's in our record.
Documents. We'd like to
So,
see.
do
that.
we have-
From the fire
Written
department.
from the fire department that
Yeah.
says they don't recommend a second exit? Do you have anything in writing from them?
No, I think they said.
I may have saved it to the electronic file, but not to the town website.
Yeah, it's on our file. It's in our public record. So do we have any other questions?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Where did the data get generated that it only takes 5 minutes to drop or pick up a child? 'Cause
They actually
I
have,
do it 2 days a week for my great niece who's 4. And in the winter, when you gotta take their winter clothes off to put them in a car seat, I take them out of a car seat. It's longer than 5 minutes.
all right, thank you. So do we have anything else, Mr. Gillen?
Yeah, I just have one.
Dennis, hold on, we got, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Can I go ahead?
No, you can't. Go ahead, Mr. Gillen.
Okay. Let me know when I can.
Jack Gillen, traffic engineer. Thank you. I just wanted to refocus as far as the congestion goes, the traffic at Commerce, at Proprietors. You know, our traffic study looked at the intersection of Commerce Way at Proprietors. It looked at Proprietors at Plain Street 139, and it looked at the site, the new site access and egress. We did the capacity calculations, all of that stuff. That's calculations, you know. So all I'm saying is I'm glad your peer review registered engineers looked at it. I did it, and now at this point here, if there's another traffic engineer, we'll talk to him too. But without that, you guys have had your peer review. We agree pretty much with everything that they've had to say. So that's where we are on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, the only thing I would like to be able to say is the fellow, the developer, the fellow in the blue shirt sitting at the desk, I think a lot of this comes from the pushback. We've been trying to discuss this in an amiable way, and as Bernie Dupuy said, he has been really sort of rude to all of the neighbors, which I think is the wrong way to approach this situation.
All right, listen, Dennis, I'm not going to sit here. We don't need personal attacks. I'm all set with that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm all set. All right, so do we have anything else from the board?
I'd just like to make a comment. I think, again, as we addressed last time at the last meeting, I think this is going to be a good use of this property, in my opinion. If I was a neighbor, I don't live there, but if I was looking across the street, I've driven down to the Plymouth location. I don't know if you did, Bernie, or not, but it's a nice-looking building. It's a nice-looking facility. Something's going to be there. I think this is going to minimize your impact in that area. If I was to live in Snowy Owl, I don't think this is a neighbor that I'd be.
Why not move those playgrounds to the other side of the building?
Well, they've pretty much already addressed it. This is the plan that they've proposed. It's been reviewed by peer engineers, this board, and everybody's satisfied with it.
So we have anything else from the board?
I can tell you 2 cars can sabotage this whole thing, one parked on either side of that road.
Anything else from online? Andrew, Bob? I want to make a motion that we close this hearing.
Bill, Dennis Kelleher, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, again, I just make note for the board's reference that revised plans were submitted today, and those are the revised plans you should use for your record.
And those address the 2 additional spots you referred to?
They added them on.
Is this the revised plan here?
No, it's the one with the red drawing.
It's not online?
It is, but it's the other one with the
Okay.
drawing.
There's 2 additional ones at the end.
Right, yeah. Right, so I make a motion that we close 2286 Mariners Lane, LLC, Proprietors Drive and Commerce Way. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Oh, Heidi Conway.
Earl Ramsey, aye.
All right, now do you guys want to discuss this?
I think we've discussed it.
Yeah.
I think we've gone over everything. They've met all the standards requested by our consultants. I think they've bent over backwards to be accommodating. It's a proven business model.
It's closed.
I just hope with all this being said that you do realize, I'm sure you will, but you do have neighbors and they take them into consideration.
I want you guys, I understand, you live there and we want this to be a complimentary thing for you, you know?
Well, we got nothing, you got everything. And so what compromise was there?
So if
I
there's a
apologize for the outburst. I'm very happy it's a daycare center, preschool.
All right,
But-
we're closed.
If there's a queuing, how are you going to address it?
Yeah.
The queuing problem.
Yeah, how do we address the queuing and,
Brian.
and
Oh, listen, there's no more talking. This is a closed meeting. Please stop. Do you think you're
Yeah? Yeah, yes. I just wanted to double check.
I thought you were because
I know, I just wanted to double check.
you were on everything. All right, so, Bob, do you have any motions?
I didn't draft them, but if you go back to the site plan motions for the first matter tonight, which was the school, I think you can use that for the approval of the site plan, but you have to make sure you make reference to the
Plans.
appropriate dated plan
We
in order
also
to
have
do that.
Incorporate the new plan, the dates.
Yeah,
on
I didn't
those.
have that,
Yeah, we
that
don't
date.
have-
Today's date.
Yeah.
So I just want to say for the record that I get everybody's issues with the parking. I have issues with the whole area up there with their parking, and you're just coming to the fun house, I call it, up there. I think a second egress would be good, but I understand the safety aspects. So I can understand both sides of the coin, because my office is over there, and sometimes it isn't. So I just want to put that on the record, that I do understand both sides of the story. And having had children just leave daycare, you know, it is a lot, guys, that you are sometimes there longer than 5 minutes when they come in and getting unraveled and stuff. So you know, both sides of the story I can completely understand, and you're doing what you can to mitigate the issues. The app is helpful, because we had one at the daycare we were at. It is very helpful, so it is something that keeps people moving and online and, you know, doing what they're supposed to be doing. I would just say, if
Do you
they
think
could
it
just,
accurately records everything that's there?
I actually do. It does a lot of live stuff. It actually does a good job with it, I do have to say. And it's tricky in a daycare. Like, sometimes kids are coming unglued, and you got to be there a little bit longer. You know, so long as the space is for them to go to, the parents park and go in there. The cars do idle. People don't shut their cars off all the time, especially in the winter. So they really don't shut them off all the time. I don't know if that's a requirement of the school that they shut them off, and even if it is, it doesn't happen. So I just think that if they just need to be mindful of that with their parents and kind of reiterate it a lot, because the parking, the coming and going, whether the traffic study says it or not, I get it. It might be an issue, but I do think the school is a well-run facility. I have family down in Dennis, and they're very familiar with it. So it is a nice addition to the park, and some better than some of the other additions we've had to the park. So I think it will be. I think it will end up, once all the kinks are worked out, I think it will end up being an okay thing for the neighbors. And just if everybody plans to just work nicely in the sandbox, would be good.
Thank you. All right, so
Mr. Chairman, I think you could probably add a condition to their site plan approval that, you know, if there's a queuing problem, they'll be back to the board.
Speak louder, please. Can't hear you.
If there's a queuing problem that develops inadvertently as a result of the operation of this, the board reserves the right to review the matter with the applicant, including reducing, you know, maybe the capacity of the school, so you don't have a queuing issue. You could add that as a condition.
Okay. So I think, Ed, you have your conditions, right, that you sent us?
I didn't send them, but I'll resend them to you and Nancy and to Bob Galvin. They're just two. Again, traffic mitigation cost, the correct number, and previous comment from Pat Brennan that mentioned that infiltration should be, soil evaluation will be conducted at the infiltration sites and then provided to the board later. I'm sure the soil will be very similar to what we've seen out there, but again, it's just a belt and suspenders approach that Pat put on his notes.
Okay.
And was accepted by the applicant.
Yes. So I'm going to move that the board vote to grant the petitioner's request for site plan approval, subject to the conditions. If there is a queuing problem in the future, the board reserves the right to review that again with the applicant. Also, I'm going to incorporate Ed's language that he has in his conditions that he gave us, along with Pat's, including the trips, the trip counts.
89, 56, 070.
Yeah, 89 times 56.
Well, no,
I mean, 89 equals 56,070, from what we understand.
Is the traffic mitigation.
Traffic mitigation. And obviously, the building permit, Andrew, your stuff, the building permit, the as-built,
And the certificate of
occupancy. And I think that's it.
And constructed in accordance with a plan.
Oh, yes, to be
Stamped by-
constructed in accordance with the plan.
Riverhawk
stamped by what I can't
Environmental.
read. Riverhawk Environmental dated
10/25.
10/25/2022. What did you want?
Is there anything about the trees or the tree situation? Do you want to add that, or?
Well, the landscape plan's in there, and they've
That
told
they
us.
said they would
yeah,
leave trees
They are
just
going
to-
to leave trees that they're
They're not necessarily-
able to leave
Right.
within the construction work. Anything else, Bob? Do you think of anything?
Nope.
Anyone else?
I'm good.
Do I have a second? Oh, hold on, I gotta finish. To construct, did the school, I did the date. Based on the findings, the applicant has demonstrated that it meets all the requirements in section 1202 of the bylaw. Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye.
Crow Ramsey, aye.
Thank you.
Nancy, do you have this? I'll give this to you, okay.
I think that's it, right?
We're good?
It's 1025, right?
This needs to go to the special permit, 45 hatch, case 2299.
Extension. Right.
Do that.
I'll do it again, just in case I didn't.
Oh, I might have missed it.
Hey, are you?
No, I might have forgot it. So,
Do you have this?
move to extend 45 Hatch Street,
Where's that
case
going?
number.
They didn't deny the variance.
Where is that going to?
Nancy, is that going to December 13th?
Yes.
December 13th.
Good luck.
Do I have a second?
Unless you want to do this 22nd.
Thank you.
I don't know.
No, we never know.
Do I have a second?
Larry Keane, second.
All those in favor?
Larry Keane, aye.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye. Grover? Grover?
Crow Ramsey, aye.
All right. Motion adjourned. Second.
Larry Keane, second.
Brian Sullivan, aye.
Brian Murphy, aye. All right, thank you.